All right, today we're talking about a character who is just, well, completely broken. I mean, a hero who is literally designed from the ground up to be unbeatable. Let's get into the legend himself, Reinhard van Astrea. So let's just kick things off with a simple question. What if a hero could never, ever lose? I'm not talking super strong or hard to beat. I mean, literally, fundamentally incapable of losing a fight. That's the wild idea we're exploring today, and it's all wrapped up in one character. So who is this guy? Meet Reinhard van Astrea. But honestly, that's almost his secondary name. To everyone in his world, he's known as the Sword Saint. And trust me, that title, it comes with a whole lot of weight, a legacy of absolute, almost terrifying power. Okay, so before we dive into all the crazy, world-breaking powers, let's get a handle on the man behind the sword. Who is Reinhardt, really? Well, he's basically the poster boy for chivalry and justice, the knight amongst knights. And man, this guy wears a lot of hats. I mean, look at this list. He's the current sword saint, sure, but he's also a knight of the royal guard, a personal knight to a royal candidate, and a member of the legendary House Astrea. The people call him the knight amongst knights for a reason. He's the hero. Every single one of these titles just screams, this dude is a big deal in the kingdom of Lukunica. And here's the thing. His personality totally lives up to the hype. He's the textbook definition of a perfect knight. We're talking fair, brave, and completely dedicated to doing the right thing. And it's not some act. This is a guy who will drop everything to help someone in need, no questions asked. It's that genuine goodness that makes everyone, and I mean everyone, absolutely adore him. All right, let's get to the main event. The reason we're all here. Where does all this unbelievable power come from? It all boils down to something called divine protections, or an arsenal of blessings. And folks, this is where things go from strong to completely and utterly broken. So what exactly is a divine protection, or kago? Think of it like a special cheat code given to you by the world itself, this cosmic force called Ode Lagna. Now, some people get one, maybe two if they're lucky, but Reinhard is on a completely different level. If he needs an ability for any situation, he just asks the world for it. And the world is like, you got it, buddy. It will literally invent new powers for him on the fly. It's absolutely wild. So how many of these game-breaking abilities does he have? Take a guess. 10, 20? Nope. The minimum known number is 251. 251. And that's just what's been counted so far. The number is always going up. It's just a ridiculous arsenal of power. And the best part is the sheer range of these blessings. You've got the absolutely god-tier stuff, right? Like the divine protection of the phoenix, which means, oh yeah, he can just come back to life if he dies. No big deal. But then you scroll down and find stuff like a blessing to perfectly tell salt from sugar, or one for having a great fashion sense. It's hilarious, but it also shows you just how complete his power is. The world helps him with literally everything, from dodging death to picking out a nice outfit. Okay, so right about now, you might be thinking, so he's just a walking pile of magic cheat codes? And that's a fair question. But nope, not even close. You see, all those blessings are just the icing on the cake. His natural talent, his actual skill, is a whole other level of monstrous. And you don't have to take my word for it. Let's go straight to the man who created him, Tape Nagatsuki. He said, and I quote, "Even without the divine protection of the Sword Saint, Reinhard would be pretty much the same." I mean, think about that. That specific blessing is supposed to grant you ultimate mastery of the sword. The author is straight up telling us he doesn't even need it. His skill is just that inhuman from the get-go. And the proof is right here. At 5 years old, he beat his own father, who was the deputy commander of the Royal Knights. He's a master of hand-to-hand combat to the point where he can literally slice someone in half with a bare-handed swing. And get this, he can't use magic like a normal person, but he can just suck up infinite mana from the atmosphere to juice up his physical stats. So let's be real, take away every single one of his blessings, and he's still one of the most terrifying fighters on the planet. So, perfect knight, unbeatable power. This guy must have it made, right? Perfect life, everyone loves him. Yeah, no. This is where the story gets really, really sad. Because all that strength, it came with a terrible price. This is the tragedy of the strongest. Just look at this timeline. It's one gut punch after another. At only 5 years old, the Sword Saint blessing jumps to him from his grandmother in the middle of her fight, causing her death. He had zero control over it, but his grandfather blamed him completely. His own father just gave up on life. By age 8, he was so powerful that his own government passed a law basically declaring him a weapon of mass destruction, forbidding him from ever leaving. And on top of all that, he carries the guilt of not being able to save the entire royal family. It's just heavy. So you end up with this deeply tragic irony. He is adored by the entire world, a true hero to the people, but he's completely cut off from his own family, the very people who should have been his rock. It's heartbreaking, really. Okay, so let's settle this once and for all. Is he really the strongest character in the series? We don't need fan theories, we don't need power scaling debates. We can go straight to the source for the final word. When the author himself was asked to describe Reinhardt's power level, his answer was just 2 words: the strongest. That's it. No one of the strongest, no arguably, just the strongest. End of discussion. The strongest is a little abstract though, right? So the author gave us a comparison to really wrap our heads around. For years, when he was asked how strong Reinhardt was, his answer was Godzilla. Let that sink in. He's not being compared to another warrior. He's being compared to a literal, world-ending force of nature. And you know what? Even Godzilla might be selling him short. Just look at these other claims from the author. He can destroy the world. He could be Olagna, that's the entity that gives him his powers. He can go toe-to-toe with the divine dragon. And here's the absolute kicker. Even a character who can rewind time infinitely could never ever find a single reality where they could beat him. He's not just a character anymore at that point. He's a fundamental law of his universe, a walking, talking axiom that says, I win. Which really brings us back to the core of his character, doesn't it? For a man who is literally guaranteed to win every single physical fight, who can't be beaten by monsters or gods, it makes you wonder, when you have absolute power, is your greatest battle really against others? Or is it against the crushing loneliness and the guilt that comes with being the strongest? That right there is the true struggle for the unbeatable hero.